I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe.
What's up, friends? We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Kandron.
Hey, hey, it's Deja. How y'all doing?
Apparently, I've got noisy neighbors. It's
Girl,
like
me.
a whole motorcycle zooming outside. Okay, you never been here before. Welcome. We do a cross section between pop culture and real life. Boy,
It's a lot going on. The technical
the
difficulty,
most.
the sound effects in the background. On the previous conversation, you will see me look off with this face like what the fuck, because it was a party happening.
Nevertheless, here we are. And we are in a series right now where we're talking about the relationship with yourself. And to be honest, this is like a self interested sort of exploration because I don't know what had happened in the last or what has happened in the last month, but I don't know. Like everything internally has been like
Everything's shaking.
shaking. Okay. Um,
Yeah.
but it has forced me to like really think about how I make decisions and what my internal value system is. So I don't know. I just had not really thought about it that much. I think I was kind of just winging it and flying by the seat of my pants. And I have found that that is not working for me any longer.
Girl, I don't think it worked for anybody until, like just don't be knowing. But then the other thing too, which is the most interesting thing, like on an esoteric juju level,
Mm-hmm.
there's a thing where people talk about getting the fool card, which is basically like the go with the flow, basically, and just
Yeah.
like in terms of taking it out of tarot, putting it more so like spiritually, like go with whatever is God is making show up for you at this time, which is the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. And it's just like, how I'm supposed to do both?
Mm.
Like, what? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, okay, so I'm on this journey, and this is the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, but like now I'm in the desolate lands, and I don't see any directions. Nobody is around
Yeah.
to help me know how to navigate this shit.
I think it's a time and a place for both. And I think that, yeah, I just think it's a time and a place for both. Sometimes it is good to just go with the flow, especially if you have been in a space of kind of making a bunch of decisions back to back. And it's like, I'm exhausted. And so we gonna work toward the outcome, but we're not gonna have a ton of expectations around it.
Mhm.
But then there's also a space to be like, and I think this is sort of how I'm sort of making peace with it. I'm trying to make better decisions so that I'm happy to go with the flow of the outcomes, if that makes sense. Should I say it another way?
No, I understood it, but I think that that's the issue. Like that's the conundrum. So you're still trying to have some sort of control over how the flow goes.
No, no. I'm trying to have control about how I feel about things that I'm doing.
Okay, makes more
So
sense. Okay.
basically, part of this, and I'll drop an episode of, I listened to Behind the Brilliance, which I know is sort of, it can be a heavy listen. Sorry, it can be a heavy listen sometimes. But remember, like when I started thinking this way and started thinking about these things, I remembered an episode where she was talking about how she like took time to lay out her values, and she sort of makes her decisions about what she wants to do based on her values,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just kind of like, this seems like it'll make me a lot of money, or this seems like it will make me no money, or this. And like sometimes you go with the project that might not make you the most money because it's more in alignment with your values.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm trying to control an outcome. What I'm controlling is, does this align with how I am as a person and who I want to be and how I want to be.
Okay. Yeah, that makes the most sense. 'Cause I was like, if we in the starting point where you're still making decisions to manipulate the outcome, then it still
No.
ain't gonna work out. Yeah.
And then I also saw this YouTube video. I mean, not YouTube video. I saw this Instagram, random Instagram that was like on somebody's stories, and I was just like flipping through, and I was just like, huh, that's interesting. And it was basically like you should be, then do, and then have an outcome. And so often that we are trying to have an outcome first, like we're basing what we be or do or who we are or what we do on what outcome we want. And that's why we are unhappy, is because we're doing things in the reverse. So that's what I mean by like, and I know that I am very outcome driven. So
Mhm.
that's sort of how I have how I have moved through the world, especially in the last, I would say, I don't know, 10 years or so. So, like, I'm trying to write that, meaning making sure that I am who I want to be and what are my values and what are my core beliefs that are important to me, and making decisions based off of that, not necessarily based off of what pays the most or whatever the case may be, because like my job pays really well, but I absolutely hate it because it aligns with none of my other values.
Hello. Yeah. Literally, when you said it, I was like, period.
Period.
But like I chuckled earlier because I'm just like, this is so funny to me. The things that you're talking about these are coaching tools that we use with clients. So basically there's like a whole the article or the podcast that you mentioned, she talks about this list with all these 400 and some odd like feelings and or values, not feelings, values. And I've seen this tool used several times where it doesn't have to be like the long list, but like the big markers. And so essentially you just take, I actually used to teach this as part of my job. So it's just funny that I'm like, this all full circle. But you take like 3 or 4 of the values and you do literally what Kandron is saying. And it asks you questions around your lifestyle as to whether or not the values that you've chosen are you living up to them, and in what ways could you be doing that. Because it is proprietary information, I can't necessarily do the exercise on here, but I can find another version of it because it's a popular coaching tool, basically, to help people get in alignment with who it is that they are, like, and figuring out also like what, defining what those values are, because sometimes like a lot of people don't, in my experience, don't really know. They think they have like a general understanding of whatever their ideal values are, but they're not living up to them because they're not the forefront of their thinking. They're not the forefront of how they are processing their day-to-day lives. So I will work on that, and we will put that in this section or this block of conversations, so I can find it, and that way you guys can do it virtually.
And so I think for me, like, I've been slow to make some changes in my life that I probably need to make because I couldn't figure out why it fell off. And that's important to me so that I don't keep making the same bad decisions or whatever. But I could not figure out quite why it fell off, and I could not figure out the right next step. So, job being the prime example, it's like, okay, this does not feel right because of X. And I cannot say that because I'm still working this job. When I'm not working, I'll be more transparent. However, like, it doesn't feel right because this has shifted in the work, and I don't believe in that. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to just go to another job in the same industry doing the same thing because I don't believe in this. So now what is the shift, or what is the thing that I actually believe in that I want to work toward? So for instance, freedom is probably like my biggest, top line priority value, right? And it's not just freedom like to be able to travel, whatever, like that's part of it, but it's a freedom to be able to be myself and to show up as myself in the spaces that I occupy.
Right.
So that is not I'm not saying that I don't code switch. I've already told y'all that, and I'm very, very blunt at work. So it's not that, but it just doesn't fit. Like it just doesn't fit who I am as a human. So I already feel like suppressed in that way. Then the going back to work has been like, oh, I don't want to be in an office at all. And like this managing my time of like, okay, this you got to be in the office this many days versus being at home this many
That's
days.
like an
So that
assault.
right. And it's just like, girl, what? Now. And like at first I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind being back in the office. And I honestly don't mind being out of the house a day or two per week just to get some, something.
Change
Um,
area.
I could change the scenery, to put in some boundaries between work and home. I think that's a good thing. So I wouldn't mind being out of the house, but like I don't necessarily want to get dressed up and put on my business casual to go to work. In fact, I'd like to burn all this shit. I would like very much to be in here's an example. Like I would like very much to be able to work in however I feel my best. So
Boom. That's it.
like I am like y'all know
Ooh.
I am a fashion girl, okay? I like clothes. I love clothes. I love putting together looks. I love putting together things that you would not ordinarily think of, or things that look like they might not go together. Like that's the type of stuff I like to wear, but that is not
Yes.
what you wear to an office. Like 90% of the looks in my head, I cannot wear to the office.
Which the thing is, you need an office that doesn't have stipulations on how it is that you come into work. I think
Exactly. That's my
a lot
point.
of the newer like tech companies are adopting this, and even fintech, because that's the
Yeah.
sector that I'm in. They're adopting this, come to work as you are within
Yeah.
reason, like don't come in there in your pajamas. But like I have seen, especially like in fintech and on our major campuses, the folks coming in their daggone Doc Marten sandals and like ripped up jeans and a graphic t-shirt.
Yeah. But it's not just that. Like, okay, so that's one piece of it. But then
Yeah.
there's like also an environmental piece of like, I'm working in this environment where the temperature is controlled by white men who are
Right.
always hot. So I am always freezing. So like I can't really get my looks off because I can't like I gotta have
I gotta have a climate control
I gotta
apparel.
climate control my outfits. I don't like it. I want to burn this entire section of my closet of business casual. I don't want to wear it anymore. I don't want to wear it anymore. Okay? So
Ooh.
like that is a very like baseline simple like I don't feel like I get to show up as myself when I go to work. Now sometimes I try to like kind of keep it cute and mix up some patterns and kind of add a little zhuzh, add a little razzle dazzle, but at the end of the day I don't want to wear that shit either.
Listen, I just want to be at home, like period. I want to be right
I just want to
here
get my
in my
looks off.
little home office in my silk pajamas if I feel like it. Like
And me, I just want to get my looks off. Like that's literally it for me.
okay,
Um,
out it.
and then that goes to like another one of my values, like my core values. I wrote a list. So another one of my values is creativity. So part of my creative process is get my looks off. But
This get
also,
my list off. That's gonna be the name of this episode.
but also, I like in a different space, not just like a fashiony space. I like a challenge. I like something where there's space for me to um explore and create, even if I'm doing very structured work. And
Same.
so when I first started my job, I felt like I had that space and it was pitched to me as an opportunity to be able to like really come in and make your own way, in this industry or in this department. And now it
Oh,
has
folks be
become,
lying. They be
well,
lying.
it was
It
for
is
a
the
while.
scandal.
It was for a while, but then some corporate shakeup happened and we ended up it has turned into a mill. So there's like no creativity whatsoever. Everything is just prescribed. You have to do it this way. You have to
Yeah.
do it this way. You need this man. And it's like, that is what it is. And it's just like, you are crushing my soul.
Yes. Yes.
You won't break my soul.
That's how I feel about this having to go. You know what? We might have some updates in the next conversation.
Oh God.
But no, like for me, because I've done this exercise so many times at this point
Yeah.
because of my job. um, the biggest thing that I have valued is time and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had flexibility. I wish, but it's okay. I have got to find this exercise so we can do this
Okay.
because like I want to show y'all the things, but like cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'm a very visual person, so I have to have my presentation anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But those things alone, like just the freedom of my freedom period, and then time, and then also adding in their creativity, like those are pieces of my role that I had.
Mm-hmm.
But pandemic and then changes and then budget cuts and like all of that shit is gone. And it's
Yeah.
like basically the role turned into wanting us to focus on something that I left several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do it.
So my challenge currently is trying to live my values and still have a roof over my head.
Girl.
And
Louder for the people in the back.
like
Won't
still
that
be
roof
able to
over your head
maintain
just
my
like
expenses, not making more expenses for myself, even though like that's what's kind of has happened. And like I'm just now meeting with a financial advising team. Shout out to them if you need friends. I don't know strangers, but the friend group, y'all need a financial advisor and you're in the USA, I got you. But like setting up things for like retirement and trying to set up things so that I can take care of my parents. And like how the fuck am I, how the fuck am I gonna do this if every day I'm going into this soul sucking environment that I hate? Because I hate everything about it. And I hate everything about it now. I like the things that I was holding on to were like the people I got to work with every day. And like
same.
my favorite person is gone.
Same. So that was part of the best part of my office environment where I was like, oh, I can go back to work. It's fine. And then I got
You
there and
find
realized
out,
like
yeah,
everybody left.
yeah.
Like, and especially the linchpins of our office who were always like keeping everything so light and fun, they both left during the pandemic or whatever. So it's not giving what it was giving before.
No, it's like, okay, well, it's time to move on. But then as Black women, I feel like it is so freaking hard to transition to another role.
Sector. Yeah.
And even within internally, or like I don't know, because like the TikTok girlies is talking about how it's all these jobs on LinkedIn, but none of these jobs are real. They're all fictitious because you never hear anything back from people, which is true. Like that's been my
You do.
experience for a year, with the exception of like random recruiters reaching out to me for something that is seemingly complete bumble shumble. And so I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
in this place right now, so this is
Same.
hard. This is super
Same.
hard.
I think for me, like when you said the roof, boy, the roof will get you every time. Having to have a home is what
Listen,
throws you off because
hello,
you be
and I
like,
like to
I'm
live a
ready.
certain type of way, so we can't go just
Yeah.
like living elsewhere so that the expenses is cheaper. I gotta have my accoutrements and my safety. I'm a bougie sister, okay? There's a certain type of living for me, period.
Yeah. Period.
Like,
So that complicates things, of course, especially when you live in a high cost of living area. That complicates it even
and
more.
do for this area.
So for this area, child. But yeah, just thinking about different ways that I can explore my job prospects. I think I talked about this in an previous episode, where we were talking about burning out and realizing that I think maybe I should do contract work as opposed to having like a full-time 9 to 5 sort of thing, meaning there's contracts to do the type of work that I do.
Yeah.
But it just gives me that feeling of freedom that I'm not trying to like climb a corporate ladder because I'm not particularly interested in doing that anyway.
Yeah.
Where
I'm not either.
I get the freedom, I get the money,
At this point, I'm just like,
and
contract me
um
out, boo.
yeah, and also it frees up my time that I spend doing BS to like work on the things that I actually care about, the
Yeah.
businesses that I'm working on outside of this, or you know, helping clients or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I just am realizing that I am highly out of alignment with my values, and a
Yeah.
lot of that, a big part of that is because I never clearly defined them. So in this space right now, I am clearly defining my values and running all of my decision making up against my values. And it does not have to be 100% fit, just to be clear. I don't think that it has to be 100% fit for every single thing, but I think you have to be able to, it has to fit something, and it has to fit enough to make it worth it.
Y'all, I have a treat. One of my mentors lives literally in this neighborhood. I'm gonna reach out to her today so that instead of me doing the values exploration, I'm gonna ask her to do well, not that's not what it's called, but it's a values tool. But I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask her to do it with us. She's an amazing life coach. And talk further about this because this we got to figure something out. I'm like, Catherine, help us, please.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll be back with that conversation. But yeah, let us know if you've ever done any of this like hardcore evaluating your values. What did you find? Is it something you interested in hearing more about?
Not even evaluating your values. Like, I think in my experience and working through with my role, a lot of people don't have, they say, oh yeah, I value this and I value that, but there's no concrete anything. So
Yeah,
when you're
that's what I
going through
mean.
the process of like trying to pick stuff down, that's when the wheels really get turning and then they solidify what they believe in.
100%. That's what I
Um,
mean. Like defining your values, even just taking that step of even knowing what the hell they are. Because you can feel that, like I said before, I felt out of alignment, but I didn't know what I was out of alignment from. So it's like, so
baby.
so now I'm sitting here coming up with my actual values and like, okay, well, this is why you feel terrible because this is the stuff that matters to you and you don't have none of it. And your job is not, or your job or your circumstances, your city, whatever the case may be, is not providing any of the things that you value. Duh, no wonder you feel like shit.
Like right now, I'm just like,
No wonder you're burned out. Go look at our burnout stuff. Like, no
baby.
wonder.
Okay. Like someone who, and I'm still talking her up, so because I love her.
Yeah.
But like I've never met anybody that just was like, you know what, fork it, I'm gonna live my values. And I met her through my job. She became a mentor from that standpoint and then became a friend. And her whole thing was just kind of like, this is not in alignment. I don't feel good. I don't like it. It makes me, I don't like this person. I don't like being told what to do. And so I don't need this. I don't need you. I'm done.
Yeah.
And like just the sheer watching her go through the sheer freedom of letting go of all of those things.
Yeah.
I almost feel like in having this conversation, I'm having like a epiphany right now. Like I feel like I just got the answer to the question that has been looming over my head, but I'm terrified to take the leap.
Yeah. So for me, I will also say this, like for a long time I have been praying for clarity and even asking other people to help me pray for clarity. And
you already had it though.
To a certain extent, but I think that this is the clarity that I've prayed for because this is clear. This is a clear decision making rubric. I am a rules girl. We've talked about this on the last episode. I'm earthy. I like a rubric. I like, tell me how this works. So I can know that something, I know that something doesn't feel right. And a lot of times that's enough for me. Sometimes that's enough for me because Deja will tell you, even in college, I'm like, I don't fool with that one. You can call me funny acting all you want. When it comes to people, if I don't fool with you, I don't need a reason. Okay. If
I
I
can
get a
think of
bad
one
vibe,
person specifically, and you were like, I tried to tell
none
you.
for me. None for me. So I'm good about that kind of stuff. But like when it comes to life stuff, I'm like, I'm still trying to make it work. And it's like, okay, no, it's actually not supposed to work because it's out of alignment. And I am actually clearly, with clarity, the thing I have been praying for, defining what alignment looks like for me. And that is what has felt like I have gotten out of this like exploration or fast moving bus that feels like it knocked me over the last month. That's what it has given me, you
Oh, you
know?
was on the Audubon.
Maybe when I say this is a very South Florida reference, but I feel like the bright line just like and it's just like, girl, what is going on here? What is going on here? Like it
I
just
appreciate the bright line though. That makes getting around a little bit
the bright
easier.
line get you to where you're going, child. But it's whew,
Zoom.
that should be moving. So anyway, that's what I feel like, you know. So
Random
I'm
aside,
out of that.
Kendra had me get on there. What, 2 years ago when I came to see?
Like, right.
Well, no, I was working. I was working there.
Yeah.
And so you were like, just get on the bright line, and then I come down, and I was like, okay. Had no idea. I just booked a ticket, got on the thing, and I paid for like a cute little,
because I ain't never been up there either.
a little setup. Child, that train once it got going, I'm like, the hell, this is not a regular train.
No, it's like a
Zooming.
bullet train. So long story short, just for frame of reference, the Bright Line is like a very fast commuter train here in South Florida. They have another one, but it doesn't move as fast because it has more stops. But the Bright Line only has like 3 stops right now. I think they're trying to add another one, but the 3 stops are West Palm, then it stops in Fort Lauderdale, then it stops in Miami. So it moves fast. Unlike
I would
the
take that
Tri-Rail,
every
which
day.
has multiple. I have taken the Tri-Rail. But the Tri-Rail has multiple stops, so it doesn't move as fast. But yeah, the Bright Line will get you there fast. But that's how I feel.
This city that I live in to get on the move and get us a version of that, because the one I know of, it stops in the just outside the DMV.
Yeah,
they need to continue that mug all the way down, because right now you can purchase like the commuter tickets to go from the regular train station up, but like it's not as fast, even though they created like a faster train or whatever for commuters, but I don't know that it's worth it. So anyway, random aside.
That was a random aside, but nevertheless, like I went from feeling like I was on a crawl, like it was giving very, very Tri-Rail, to going from that to like
I was giving Amtrak.
It was Amtrak. Hello, it was giving Amtrak. Okay, not even Tri-Rail, Amtrak.
Rolling along, clickety, clickety, clickety.
And then I just feel like in the last month of my life, I got on the Bright Line, and I am happy to be on the Bright Line because now I have clear direction about the things that I need to change and the ways to make it better. Not just changing a bunch of shit, as my mom would say, or like, I guess it's probably a Southern saying, jumping from the frying pan into the fire. Like, let's not do that. Let's actually get clear on what it is that, you know, I want and how I want to feel. Not just the things that I want, but how I want to feel. And so like that's sort of what this exploration has been teaching me.
Listen, we're gonna have a follow-up conversation to this, absolutely. And hopefully I'll be able to bring on the mentor friend for that. So we're just gonna put a pin in it right here and keep on going in the next conversation. Thank you for watching. Of course, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out blackandcurious.com, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.